Tucson's future, this city in this region, it has its real challenges. Our heritage, the culture, and protecting that as we move forward. We're a progressive, modern community, but we're in touch with our past. A lot of changes are headed our way, I can assure you. 4th Avenue, what's going to happen 4th Avenue? They're going to have to say, what are the opportunities? Because a lot of people are going to show up here pretty soon.
A lot of people have already shown up on Tempe's Mill Avenue. A whole bunch of people can just look like a whole bunch of money to some. Future profit, cost-benefit ratio, golden opportunity. These terms are easily defined if they're signposts on a financial highway. For many, years of travel on that highway had driven Tempe's unique, independent business, art, and cultural district to a place called Ordinary USA. In May 2008, the documentary Mill Avenue, Inc. had its premiere in Tempe. The mood oddly settled somewhere between a celebration and a funeral wake.
Like a better version, a more thriving and surviving version of like Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco.
I mean, every time when I moved away and came back to town, it's the first place I went on a Friday night.
One by one, we're watching things just kind of disappear. You know.
There's a definite commercial takeover.
The bottom line is all those places that were down on Mill Avenue, they're all gone, and it sucks.
I went straight into Tempe, you know, and was looking for it, and it was gone. The scene, the artist, everybody I was looking for was gone.
We lost all the good bars, all the dive bars, all the good drinking bars, playing, listening to music bars.
They paved Paradise and put it in the parking lot.
Which is just shocking to me that we can live in a city that at one point had the potential of being Austin.
Many of the small businesses went to renew their leases. They could not renew them at a price that they could afford to stay in business.
It's interesting to watch change happen, and I'm all for it, but when it destroys a lot in the process, that's what hurts the most.
And my employees knew we were closing, and they still didn't look for other jobs. They stayed. They wanted to stay. They wanted to be there till the end. And all of my bands wanted to play and didn't ask about money, didn't ask about where they'd be in the lineup. And then, 2,000 people came. It was a good memorial, for the end of that era.
Future profits, cost-benefit ratio, opportunity, Tucson's own independent business, art, and cultural district will define those words in the path that's chosen.
Fourth Avenue is on a human scale, and it's really appealing that way.
It's pretty much retained the same character, through the decades, really.
It's a very Euro way of doing things, and that's what I like about Fourth.
Fourth Avenue is uniquely Tucson.
It's a microcosm of actually what drew me to Tucson in the first place.
It's really now a place to party, for people to come and to blow off steam.
Yeah, it's the kind of the funky, real Tucson.
There is not one corporate spot on the whole street.
A very eclectic crowd. You've got a little bit of everybody here.
I just feel so blessed to be able to be part of it, really.
I wouldn't want to be anywhere else in Tucson. I wouldn't want to be in any other city. I want to be here on 4th Avenue.
There's no other place that I would want to be working from or operating from.
And just the whole feeling of being in a community.
It's a good thing.
You said when we left California in the bus and sold our 6-bedroom house on the beach for a bus that we were going to travel until we ran out of money. So this is where we ran out of money. And we've been here ever since. My 4 siblings left, but I never left. And we opened Piney Hollow soon after we got here from purchasing opals in Mexico at the mines.
It's August, I think, of 72.
Antigone Books has been on 4th Avenue since 1973. Over these 37 years, it has morphed into a bookstore that is progressive with a feminist slant. In our inventory, you would find a lot of books that you will not find at the chain bookstores, and that includes a lot of local authors, but it also just includes books from small presses, books that are not bestsellers. I think we have a very broad collection. If people are from Tucson, then we'll often carry their books, get them directly from them. So that's an advantage to being small.
There's about 150 merchants on 4th Avenue, and probably 50 of them have been open for at least 35 years. I arrived here in 1976 for a 2-week vacation, purchased the restaurant in 1982, and I've been here that long.
I love it. I love the Hippie Gypsy. It's a great store. It's cool to be involved in an actual shop that's downtown, in the heart of everything, and but it's still a really fun place to work. It's just cool to be able to go somewhere where you can actually have an interaction with the customer, and they can also be a friend as well as a customer. So that's why I love the Hippie Gypsy, one of the many reasons.
Definitely our customers appreciate it. Our owners are really rad, all our staff, they're just they have anxiety for the first 3 months they work here because they're where's the rule book? Where's everything? It's this old way of doing things.
Right.
We have computers, we handwrite tickets, it's the whole, we know our regulars, we get stuff ready for them when they come in. It's the old way of Mayberry, it's
I own XT's offensive wear, custom print t-shirts, sell body jewelry. Geez, I first came here, I think for the first time it was in 1979. I lived on this avenue practically. My house was around the corner. I ate here. I did my laundry at Empire Market. I did my shopping at the Empire grocery store.
Well, it's a leftist political bookstore. And so, and a gathering space and a social space. So definitely the literature it's very political. It's stuff you're not going to find at Borders generally. There might be a few things, but generally this is not the kind of thing you're going to find at your big box bookstores or really any other bookstore in town. And it's also a gathering space, so we make ourselves available to all kinds of groups that need a space to meet and just a place to be. It's also a coffee shop. It's a coffee shop with food. We have mostly vegan, vegetarian menu, and then just a ton of desserts, organic, a lot of vegan stuff, a lot of gluten-free stuff. All sort of, depending on who our customers are, then we try and carry things that will fit their needs.
I personally see my own store, and I think it's because it was in this environment that it wasn't in a real environment, if you will, is that I've been able to make it the way I want it to be. It's my utopia. There's a creative element.
Customers coming in from the foothills, they're scared of 4th Avenue, they don't understand it, and then they come down there and they kind of get a little enticed by it, and they're like, ooh, that felt good. Why'd they say hi and goodbye to me? I've never had that for a while. Or, you know, they get freaked out.
There's art galleries, there's things to look at, laugh at.
So you've got people from all walks of life that can come here and find interesting things.
You can go in and out, you know, of store after store and have totally different experiences from one to the next.
And so I'd have women in there that wanted their pearls knotted. And, you know, 85-year-old woman wanting her pearls knotted. And then the next minute I have a friend come in, customer, who buys piercing studs from me. And he has 2 long wood-carved penises in his ears. And he stands next to the counter with this 85-year-old woman, you know.
There's nothing like 4th Avenue. There's other places across the country like this, but they're not the same.
A place like 4th Avenue has always been important because it's a gathering place for people with similar ideas and, you know, just similar cultural heritage.
There's a community feel, which I think is really important.
We have people that go out and sweep their own sidewalks and say, hi, neighbor, how you doing? And I think that's what makes us, we're a neighborhood.
Like, we don't carry stuff that our neighbors might carry a lot of. They do the same respect to us.
Everybody here is great. Everybody wants you to succeed.
It's that whole fellowship, like, you know, in the end, like, if we're all still open, that's what it's about.
So it's not like you open a business and they go, no, you're going to hurt our business because you're here. No, people are like, oh, listen, you kind of want to think about doing this, or we have a problem with that. That's how you can kind of deal with it. And whatever it takes, you know, so that's really nice too, that sort of supportive atmosphere.
I've got to say, I think it's one of the best run community organizations, if you will, that I know of.
And there's always some kind of event going on the Avenue. Activity which is also bringing in money.
We do hot rods, we do vintage vehicles, we have bicycle swaps, we have our street fairs and more.
It was just wonderful to see the whole street evolve, you know, and the people that came in and bought their buildings. Now that was a really wonderful part of it.
And I'm sure just the actual, you know, cost of rental down there was, you know, very conducive for people that wanted to start a shop and, you know, couldn't afford to go into one of the malls.
People that were already established as merchants were able to buy their own businesses and buildings. And I feel that is like the key to what's kept this area with the unique quality that it has.
We knew that as soon as somebody bought the building and had their business in the building that they bought, that it was solid, you know, that those people are going to stay.
There are people that have known my children, you know my husband, I know her husband, I know her grandfather.
My stepson, he was an infant in this building. You know, his diapers were changed on the stairs over there, so.
Here, you know, these are old buildings, you know, we keep them up on purpose to keep this historic feel, this neighborhood feel.
You know, we've planted trees, we clean our own sidewalks, we help put in trolley tracks, refurbish trolleys.
You know, because that's just the folks on 4th Avenue. Yeah, and I appreciate that. This is a great community.
Even in terms of the restaurants that are on this avenue, it's all home cooking. These are all private people cooking, you know, it's where do you find that?
If somebody comes in from down the street, you know, from the salon next door or from Coyote down the street and says, hey, can I have a sandwich? And I bring them over a plate and a cup that they're going to bring back. You know? That they're going to wash it and dry it and they're going to bring it back.
It's not a small town feel, but it's a friendly urban environment.
And it's kind of quirky. We're pretty quirky.
The things you see on 4th Avenue, I mean, It's an old car. It's got 2 people in it. And the woman in the passenger seat is playing on this huge wooden flute. It was this huge flute, and she did not stop playing as they're bottoming out, as they're into the party. Coming in. It was just great. A dog. And he had a cat that stood on the dog, and he had a mouse that sat on the cat, talking about world peace. And the cat jumped off the dog with the mouse still on its back. They walked off. I mean, it was just like, I'm not going to see this at the mall.
Even to test your independence, you're right to actually sit on the sidewalk and play some music, you know, and not be bothering anybody, just jam out. I mean,
they're playing their saxophone or, you know, different instruments. The Day of the Dead parade is fantastic. It's a parade that anyone can join into. People can wear costumes, make puppets, make floats out of bicycles and perambulators or whatever they want. People just start gathering, and then they march down, and you just see the most amazing things.
This is one of the few places I can say all around the United States that has been virtually the same as it was when I first came here. You know, the bars have changed and the people have changed, but it's still kind of the same.
like how many times people come in that's lived in Tucson for so long and they just recently discovered 4th Avenue. Right. And it's like the greatest thing, or they say, God, I feel like I walked into a time warp. Like, I really feel like I'm back in the 70s or the 60s, or like, you know, it's like, and it's kind of like we always make a joke, like, well, welcome back.
Oh, I remember as a kid knowing that we were going to move down to 4th Avenue was totally thrilling.
Yeah, it was very much of a hippie.
It was where we wanted to be. We came
shops.
from San Francisco. And so 4th Avenue is like the only section of what we remember from where we came from.
You know, and all the oddball stores that were selling, you know, the jewelry and incense, and I mean, you name it. It was available, and it was all condensed there.
All the same things were happening in Tucson that were happening in San Francisco. So,
I guess because of the reputation the place had, it was kind of a taboo to a lot of people. It bred trouble, and there was always drugs and always something there. It was a great place.
the fear element for suburban people not wanting to come to 4th Avenue because, oh, scary place, you know. And we just loved it, you know, we just loved it.
It certainly can draw an element.
Maybe it's because
We're just as weird.
We could be with people that we could relate to, you know.
I don't know that there are a lot of vegan, leftist coffee shops in Tucson, so.
No, not anywhere, you know, not anywhere.
A strong sense of place is often due to the creativity that surrounds it. The scene, the vibe, grows and sustains when the artist is left unchecked. Environment means everything.
I was born in France, but I moved to Tucson in 1994.
What brought you here?
Music.
One of the great things about 4th Avenue is that it gives local musicians a venue, period, to play. And, you know, if you don't have a place to go and run it up the flagpole in front of an audience, then you're stuck rehearsing at home all the time.
I came here to do a film, a documentary on Giant Sand, local band. And I stayed after that. That wasn't the plan, but once you step in here, it's hard to escape. And it's good.
I was an announcer, ultimately the music director at KWFM. Started there in 1971 and worked there through 1980. Yeah, spent a fair amount of time as a musician on 4th Avenue as well.
We were in Palm Springs in a Denny's, and there was a woman there who was a spot-on ringer for Shelley Duvall. And so I stopped, and she was talking to a friend, and she said she just came from Tucson. And the friend said, "How do you like Tucson?" She said it was filled with old cowboys and ghost cows.
Ghost cow.
Ghost cow.
Yep.
1981, I moved down here. I used to put on a burlap dress that I bought at Value Village on 4th Avenue and played a mall bar, at which Al was bartending, and he discovered me and put out my first couple music cassettes.
My sound is sort of a twangy rock and roll sound with, echoes of Duane Eddy and Freddie King and Harlan Howard and Buck Owens in the songwriting department.
I like to use 4 or 5 chords and point out social problems without offering any solutions.
Pretty much I've been playing music with Sidewinders and Sand Rubies and the Luminarias since about 1985. And here I am, almost clean and sober.
I love 4th Avenue. I take my family there constantly. We're always at 4th Avenue. Whether music or whether it is there, or just something about the culture of it. It's like the true artistic district of this town. Yes, we were Joshua Butcher and the Melancholy. Apparently nobody can spell melancholy, but nobody knows what a tangelo is either, so it doesn't.
Fourth Avenue has always supported original music, rock bands and folk bands.
Anything new and innovative is kind of happening there.
There's always been a great music scene just because it's been a thing where nobody's really very careerist about it. Nobody's made a living from it or made a fortune from it, but aesthetically, very healthy.
There's always something to see, something to do. You always see something interesting.
The drummer Blaine, you and I would just grab buckets and stuff and play drums walking down the avenue in the evening, wearing baskets on our heads and painting our faces all goofy. It was great.
I didn't see that on your resume.
Tucson as a whole is a good place to get started. 4th Avenue and downtown provide, never enough, of course, but sufficient spaces where you can practice, start up, try out things.
You're really allowed to do a lot of things in this town that you couldn't do in, say, in a larger city like Phoenix or Los Angeles or something.
If you're a cover band, you can't play 4th Avenue unless you've got some sort of shtick.
Yeah, we played that Plush Lounge, and they said no covers at all. So they wanted to make sure everything was original. That's kind of what they want to shoot for.
You may not make any money. You may have to play on Wednesday night, but at least you've got a gig.
I mean, they don't ever pay enough, but that's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but that's our fight.
It's been, 30 years since I worked at KWFM, and I'm just, starting to think of the different bars that were down there, the people were playing at, and up, oh my gosh.
The clubs on 4th Avenue, 6th Street, all over, the downtown area of Tucson were just blowing away with great local music.
But there was kind of a circuit, and groups would come in on this Southwest circuit.
You could see the Circle Jerks, Black Flag, Fear, the Dream Syndicate, all those bands coming through. It was quite a healthy little scene back then, and a pretty wild place, really.
4th Avenue was kind of like this little Berkeley, It was 1978 when I first started working there. But what's salient about that is that, it wasn't too far away from like the whole thing of the 60s, everything, peace, love, experiment, have fun, you know?
There was a place, it was called Choo Choo's, and then it was the Night Train. It was sort of like a hard rock, heavy metal place, but every now and then they'd have like New Wave Mondays.
The Night Train. Have you ever heard of the Night Train? Anyway, it was a famous rock and roll club on 4th Avenue. And it was really big in the 70s for like hair bands and stuff.
By the time I'd started working at KWFM when I was 18, I was already familiar with the Night Train. It was like one of our biggest advertisers, and it was the only place where concerts happened.
I played at the original Choo Choo's, which eventually morphed into the Night Train.
That place became really a critical part of my life. It did. I became good friends with the owners, Doc and Shag.
Doc, that's what they called me back in the old 4th Avenue days, because I'm an eye doctor. I probably took it from the Night Train song. Da 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 on the Night Train. We really showcased local bands. We'd have a local bands night early in the week.
And you could just see a 4-band bill, and you'd get something unexpected. One might be terrible, but the next band's going to be great.
And then we would intersperse that with concerts. And then we did more and more of the concerts.
I did the commercials.
We did a lot of concerts from bands all over the world.
I did so many of them. Literally, we were doing a new spot every single day of the week for these guys.
I made relationships with the booking agents, the agents for the police and the agents for other big groups on the phone, and the CBS Records, Epic Records, Atlantic Records. So we became the place to stop in between like LA and going west. I'm going east, going west, you're in the ocean. Sorry, guys.
This beautiful, cute little bartender and I, one day she says to me, she says, "You got to come to the train tonight." I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "There's a great band coming." I'm like, "There's a great band 365 days a year."
When a large group came to do a concert at the downtown, they'll come to our place afterwards. When Frank Zappa came, he spent 5 days at our club in the evening with his bouncer. He just hung out there.
But every national act that had one album or two albums, whenever they would come through Tucson, one of the things that they had to do was interview at KWFM.
Major groups, we had the Runaways with Joan Jett, we had the Go-Go, we had a contract for Meatloaf, we had a contract for the Police, maybe like CBGB's in New York. You just felt that you were in the right place. Electricity was there. It was exciting, so the groups wanted to be there. They felt comfortable. We had a beautiful basement, with air conditioning and couches and everything else. A venue that cared.
The place all in all was a good time. I did spend a lot of time inebriated, shall we speak, but that's what you did back in that time.
Every night afterwards, there'd be this big party at Doc's house. I wake up the next morning, there's some dude on my couch, right? A pile of Jack Daniels on the floor and stuff. I had no idea it was some dude, I'm with some band named Van Halen,
All kinds of music. John Cougar Mellencamp, Paul Butterfield, the Talking Heads. That was one of the most interesting days. I didn't know who the Talking Heads were. George Thorogood played, Tom Waits.
The story of me and Tom Waits. Alan Browning interviewed Tom Waits, and I was going to take him down to the Night Train on 4th Avenue for the concert that night. As we get on 4th Avenue, there's a Goodwill store, a thrift store on the right-hand side of the road. He goes, "Pull over, man, I want to buy a tie." The doors close just like that. The close sign comes up, and he looks at me, and he goes, "Bam, bam." He just starts hitting on it. "I want to buy a tie. Open up the door." So next thing I know, two of Tucson's finest roll up in their black and whites, and they go, "We really don't give a damn who you are or who he is. But if you don't get off 4th Avenue right now, you both are going to spend the night in the Pima County jail." I said, "Tom, we need to go. We really need to go now," because Tom does not want to go. I have a lot of friends who say, "Well, you should have got thrown in jail with Tom Waits. That would have made a lot better story." I'm going, "Yeah, but he would have got out to go to the concert. I'd still be in there with Jose."
In those early days, we were more concerned with telling a story, playing sets. Either playing thematic sets, playing 4 or 5 songs in a row that all dealt with a particular subject, or songs that were musically thematic and had all the same sort of feel. They were all blues tunes. So it was a real challenge because we were always trying to develop some sort of feel for what we were presenting. I could play the 1812 Overture next to a Led Zeppelin song, next to a New Riders of the Purple Sage song, if somehow I could make the connection.
This is KWFM 92.9, Tucson, Arizona.
Jimi Hendrix on KWFM, little medley there, Little Drummer Boy and Silent Night, little Yuletide gift for you. Pink Floyd in there too, right on time for Christmas. Boy, glad that thing came out. The double album Set the Wall from the Floyd. Okay, we're back. My name's Dave LaRussa, be with you up until 6 o'clock in this morning. The Kinks, Preservation Act 1 and 2. 3 sides left to go.
We were really the outlaws in town because we had a wall of 5,000 albums, and the jock that was on the air could play anything he wanted out of that record library. I mean, there was no playlist whatsoever. It could be Brazilian, it could be jazz influenced, it could be progressive rock music that had orchestral elements, it could be folk rock music.
Hi, I'm Chip Curry telling you to listen to the Bluegrass Hour this Saturday at 4 o'clock, brought to you by Piney Hollow Silver Works.
Dave Brown brings you the Jazz Show, 4 hours of simply the best in contemporary jazz.
It was so relaxed and so freeform.
What am I supposed to say? You want to do the whole thing?
Yeah, don't take it.
Hey, this is Tessio.
Hey, Tessio, what's happening?
I'll tell you what's happening. The 4th Avenue Street Fair.
The 4th Avenue Street Fair.
Creations offers a large scope of paraphernalia, which always makes for nice presents. Creations, 444 North 4th Avenue.
The 4th Avenue Street Fair, December 12th, 13th, and 14th.
Back it up. So what if it's 38 seconds? That was all right. Oh, we can't kick
for FM.
And this Sunday, KWFM and the Night Train, in conjunction with the Music Stand, bring you a live rock marathon of Tucson's talent. 7 Tucson groups, including Shakedown, Rebel Yell, Spectre, High Voltage, Bloodstone, Zeal, and Prophet, for only a 92-cent cover. And coming October 22nd to the Night Train, in a return, it's Joe Ely.
Well, I heard the news. There's good rockin' tonight.
I was proud of what we did. I mean, we did a lot of stuff that I don't know how we even did it. It just wasn't some band that was out there. We had shows. Well, I tell you, I never thought about it as a business. I don't remember ever taking a dime home after the fact. We love you, Tucson. Thank you for coming to our concert tonight.
KWFM rocks the old Pueblo. Now, Frank Zappa is going to be coming up here and spinning some tunes and talking to the people just a bit.
Hello there, this is Frank Zappa, and I'm taking over for a while.
KWFM Tucson in our 10th year of rock and roll.
This is our first studio concert from a club, and we would like to thank the Night Train for being the first club to help us do it. And would you please welcome the Dixie Dregs.
KWFM Stereo, operating continuously in a carrier reference frequency of 92.9 megahertz. KWFM Tucson, yours always when you need a friend.
The commercial aspects of it weren't the big deal, and just slowly started to change as we became more and more popular. People started saying, "Whoa, we can make a lot of money on this." Then things got tighter and tighter. It was more about how popular is this song. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we're playing songs that are popular and that it's not a tune-out factor, quote unquote. And research started getting involved and all those, the way radio really is today, what the people that own the stations are, which are essentially a number of very large corporations, is what are the chance that somebody's going to hit the button on the dial to change to another station.
Why'd you get out of the nightclub business?
Well, this is the part you might not want to hear. But in 1979, all of us were busted for cocaine dealing. Kind of like Studio 54. There were some drug busts, and that's what happened. And it was over very small amounts of anything, and it was just a horrible situation, and it ruined everybody's family and probably ruined a lot of people's lives, including my own for a while. But you know what they say, drugs, sex, and rock and roll, and which is first? Everybody says every day, open up a club and we'll work there. And I have dreams about it. Reopening that club and everybody saying hi again. I still have those dreams, and but those are dreams. You don't want to go back to those days exactly.
It's basically been the same unless you count those college places, those big mega bars down there, you know.
So far, you know, we've all stuck around because it's not been changed that much.
Night Train is now, part of it is the Surly Wench.
They used to do, they probably still do burlesque shows, and I was invited to sing in between the burlesque girls doing their skits, and it was wonderful. It was a different context. It was like being on 4th Avenue, but playing to a different crowd, playing a different genre, playing, you know, stretching.
Now I play on 4th Avenue like at O'Malley's or The Hut or Plush.
We played Plush, we've played the Wench, the Surly Wench, but the place that we get the most people at is at the Hut, because they book us there.
You've been in the music business for 8 years? Mm-hmm. It's a long time.
It is.
It is.
It is a long time.
I don't necessarily even know if I'm necessarily in the music business, but I've been playing music for a long time. I'm also an actor.
We played
at Plush last August.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Before we went, I hadn't played in Tucson in a very long time because I generally actually go either on the East Coast or Midwest or Europe.
We just got back from touring Denmark. We were there for 12 days, 8 shows, and a lot of the venues were actually old government facilities, like a train station or an art center where they, you know, create content for, you know, and have a school. And so the government actually funds the facilities, and that's where they pay the artists from the government funding. So that's an interesting point, considering the topic of this documentary. You were going to totally bypass that and just talk about beer.
Yeah, you know.
I know when I go to Europe, artists get subsidies, venues get subsidies, booking agents get subsidies, labels even get subsidies. So once you've got that in place, of course it's going to trickle down to the artist and to the shows and to the audience, and so that's not quite happening here at all.
This kind of thing is it's too expensive. The bands, bringing them in, the contracting, the hours, they got to practice. I think you're in a very difficult business.
You know, there's the gigs that pay you better, but maybe they're a little bit more work to play, versus the ones that don't pay a lot, but the audiences are really gracious, which makes it more fun for the artist. For me, the corporate gigs are sort of a necessary evil.
There's not so much a premium put on original music in those places.
Yeah, they don't really care about the music. They're just there to drink as much as they can.
Back in our day, we drank as much as we could, and we cared about the music.
As far as corporate versus, you know, non-corporate, there's a million ways to skin a cat.
Look, I'm going to do this. Nobody's going to tell me how to do it. This is going to be my vision. And, you know, come hell or high water, I'm going to make this work.
And really, at the end of the day, it boils down to how much work you're willing to put into achieving your goals and your dreams. No matter what, it's going to take a lot of work, whichever path that you choose.
Just want to keep playing. However, that's gonna happen.